Talks Back, now live on YouTube and Alpha. We're live every day at 1 p.m. PDT, PST, PT, Pacific Time, whatever, Monday through Friday, breaking down all the pop culture news, theories, and spoilers from movies, TV, video games, and more. But today is Monday, which means that it is time for a Game of Thrones after show, All Kings Considered. Woo, woo, woo. Now, last night was the last episode of Game of Thrones Season 7, so that means it's time to break it down. So beware, like winter, spoilers are here. So no whining. And with that, let's do this. Ooh. Joining us today is managing editor for Nerdist.com and the proud owner of a 100% authentic replica of Jaime Lannister's gold hand, which is creepy, Alicia Lutz. Alicia.
It's not that creepy. Nope, never mind. I'm not even gonna
made it creepy.
Now you made it.
I was gonna make it really creepy, and then I backed out, and now here we are. Hi, guys.
And now it's just awkward. As well as host of the Dan Cave and the Man Tap to Shoutcast the Clegane Bowl, Dan Casey.
And coming to the stage we have Gregor Glane weighing in at 195,000 kilograms. I don't know the metric system, but it sounds accurate to me. Coming up next after this.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah. You should think about doing esports.
Well, gotta go. Esports are calling.
Also joining us is Nerdist producer and Littlefinger's #1 fan, and that is not a joke, Jason Wynn.
I'm so sad.
Oh,
So sad.
poor baby.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
He's gone, sir.
Oh no, your Baelish is no more.
I loved him and his little finger.
Oh, God. And finally, Mothership writer Amy Vorpal, who has a theory that the ice dragon actually breathes. Do you guys want to put this camera back on me? Thanks. Arctic Blast Axe body spray, which I would agree with.
Yes, that wall is getting taken down with just the fumes of musk.
Elon.
Yeah. It's a new kind of Musquatch.
Yeah, it actually stops all the soldiers on the wall because they just have
Musquatch and
flashbacks
Eastwatch.
to like high school.
Yeah.
You're like, ugh, and they can't move anymore.
Tormund's just afraid of his past.
When he used to work over at Abercrombie. Yeah. I can see
Oh
him
look!
there.
Oh my gosh! Hey, look, the dragon!
It's gonna melt the candles.
That's really good, y'all. Good job.
This is an OSHA
I
violation.
understand
That's
how it
pretty
works.
cool.
If I get burned, I'm suing work.
All right, so without getting into too many specifics, because we got to save it for the rest of the show, or else what's the point of us being here? What did you guys think about the finale?
I loved it. I really loved it.
Really?
Yeah, I hated the second to last episode, or this past
yeah.
episode. Hated it. It was like with a fiery fury, and this week redeemed everything. I loved it. I loved it hard face.
I didn't love it, but I also liked it better than last week's episode, and I definitely thought it had some solid moments.
Yeah.
So I was cool with that.
It was the strongest character episode so far. It was a roller coaster ride, but I liked it.
It felt like this episode had a little bit more of the stuff that I really loved about the first few seasons, where it felt like, the character moments that we got were really developed and well thought out and really rich and nuanced. I mean, I think we especially saw that with Tyrion and Cersei, who had hands down the best scene in the whole season, no question. They chewed the scenery to bits, and it was amazing. And I really liked that aspect. This season has been so weird for me in general, though, because I am always having a good time. I'm always entertained. I'm always enjoying every single episode. But there is just still that push-pull of I'm entertained, but I'm not necessarily thinking it's all good. So I kind of felt the same way about the finale. I enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot to love about it. I'm excited for next season, but also felt, some of it left a little bit to be desired.
I'd agree with that assessment. I think that much like most of Season 7, it's been very enjoyable to watch while it's happening, but upon further scrutiny, it doesn't necessarily stand up. It is sort of it's like popcorn. You're eating popcorn at the time, it's delicious, but then it's not necessarily filling, and I feel like that season finale was great, delivered on a bunch of fan service moments that rewarded people for watching over the last 7 years, but we'll see how it all plays out in Season 8, especially with the reduced episode order.
Gotcha.
What it felt like to me was this episode was actually written or at least decided on first, and everything else leading up to it didn't quite build, get to this episode. It felt like
How do we make these two smooch?
Yeah. How do we make these two switch? How do we get the dragon to breathe
you think
fire?
George
How do
R.
we get
Martin-
Sansa and Arya to team up? Yeah.
You would say he probably, before he stepped away, said, you got to
I
hit
think
these
he-
bullet points.
I think he gave them this bullet points
Yeah.
for this episode and left the rest up to a little bit of design.
I think
and
that
that's where it failed.
Whoa. Let's move.
Sorry.
Because it comes up his involvement comes up later, so I think that that's
Okay.
where that conversation
cool.
can pop in. All right, so without
Careful,
further
Bran. Don't tell us about the future.
Without further ado, let's break down the finale. Now, the wall is down. The dead are marching into Westeros. The Night King is flying around on an undead dragon.
Sick.
So, sick. So, let's get into the one moment that has the internet in a total uproar. Why did Samwell steal Gilly's big moment? Answer, men.
We're pretty great,
Gross.
right?
Those
We're pretty great.
Those stupid men. Well, also, like, Bran stole Sam's moment, who stole Gilly's moment. You know what I mean? Like,
Because
It's
Bran
weird.
was like,
Yeah.
I see everything all the time from the front and back, past and present.
Yeah.
Oh, why are you here? And then Sam tells him why, and then he's like, oh, let me just warg back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hold on. This is what happened.
I see everything, but I miss things sometimes that are a hidden secret in books. So if you tell me that secret thing in a book, maybe I'll remember. I know, it was super weird.
It's an interesting expansion on the limitations of what Bran's powers are and what it means to be a seer and have green sight and be the Three-Eyed Raven and all these things. And I thought it was really interesting. I really want to know, I wish I could see the moment where Gilly was like, but Sam, can we go back to that thing I was trying to tell you about before? Because I really don't think you were paying attention. Like, because obviously that must have come up again because he was very flippant about it the first time she said anything.
There's a great meme floating around out there where she's just like, they got the perfect shot of her face where she just is like, and it's like when your boyfriend steals your credit, and it's the best.
All they needed to do was have Sam be like, wait a minute, that reminds me of something that my wife that I seemingly hate said. Yeah, annulment. Oh.
Yeah, it could have been transitioned in there a little bit better. I just all the stuff with Bran is just so weird and ridiculous.
And to everyone,
to work.
to everyone online being like, yeah, but Sam transcribed it. Shut up. He transcribed so many things and didn't remember half of them. He was busy curing an incurable disease in a single day. Shut up about the transcription.
All right, so in all seriousness, do you think that it was effective that they actually ended up doubling down on the reveal? Now, we as an audience already knew kind of about this, so did we need that moment and montage, and was that overkill?
Oh, was overkill. I mean, look at it. It looks like a scene out of Dawson's Creek. What's happening?
Oh my God.
What the fuck is going on?
I kind of disagree.
I
'cause
do too.
While I knew what was happening, I still wanted to see the moment.
Yeah, I don't think
and I wanted
think
it
Game of
to
Thrones
hear
can
it out
just
loud.
give us Cliff's Notes and be like, see, because you knew, here's a Cliff's Note. Like, this was an important moment, and we got to see Bran seeing it. I loved it.
But why couldn't we just see it as Bran just finding it out on his own? Like, why do we need all that exposition and then like an exposition VO and like drive to
Just
exposition
in case
land?
it wasn't abundantly clear
Yes.
who was smooching who and why you should feel a little weird about it.
And also, I
is-
think part of it is too because there's a lot of things that are just inaccurate in Westerosi history. We've seen that a lot of lore, a lot of stories of what actually happened isn't what actually happened. So I think that in order to assuage any fears or but did it really happen? Was that really the true case? We needed to actually see it. Do I think they could have done it a little bit better? Yes, of course. But I think that it was necessary just for, especially for like book readers and people that are diehards about everything that happens in the show and the lore, for them to actually see the moment where they got married, so to be like, oh no, this is legitimately real and we can move forward.
And that kind of plays into then like reinforcing, that victors are the ones that write the history books, and that, well, I guess we kind of go into this later, but I guess,
I think
I'll bring it up later.
it was not like the most elegant way to deploy that information, but they haven't really been doing things as elegantly as they have in the past, and with a limited amount of time, they need to just really hammer home this revelation for the sort of casual viewing audience, because we are sort of in a different variety of viewer, much like all you folks in the chat, where you just put it under such intense scrutiny,
Yeah,
and you're like,
bubble.
you love going into all like the fan theories and the lore and all of that. But for a lot of people at home, just like casual viewers, they might be like, wait, who gone? What Gary?
Yeah.
Like,
Smooching him.
exactly.
My friend Chelsea and I talked about this specifically last night because she's also super into Game of Thrones. She listens to the podcast, she reads all the things, and she was sort of like, oh, I was talking to people about it, and I was really surprised and taken aback that people were like, oh, I didn't realize that like Rhaegar and Lyanna and who they are and that this is Jon Snow and it was all put together. And I was sort of like, oh, I guess it's not always so explicitly clear when you're not super obsessives like we all are.
right.
All right, so Alicia, what's the significance of Jon's name, Aegon?
Oh man. Okay, so Aegon Targaryen is a very popular common name throughout Targaryen history. There's actually been 11 other Aegon Targaryens throughout the course of the Targaryen family.
So it's like they're John?
It is. It's the
Aegon.
John Smith of the Targaryen name. A lot of them died very young. I would say that there are probably 4 in particular that you need to be aware of. 4. Here we go. There's Aegon the Conqueror, obviously, which we have spoken about at length. There are a lot of parallels to what Jon is doing in Aegon the Conqueror. Also, Aegon III, who's Aegon the Younger. He was one of 2 Aegons that were alive at the same time, which we'll get to later. He also had a lost brother. He was the Broken King. He was very broody and sad boy, kind of like Jon Snow. Then there was Aegon V, Egg from Duncan and Egg Tales. He, he was Aemon's brother. Yeah, he was Aegon the Unlikely. Also, guys, I wrote this stuff down so nobody would yell at me in the chat because I was so afraid.
You forget the 9th Aegon from the left.
They have to remember you don't have Wikipedia on your fingertips in
I
order
know.
to check
You don't
that before
have-
you dive
I
into
wish.
chat to talk a bunch of crap.
You don't have, as someone told me online, Encyclopedia Bran at your
I
disposal.
know. I trust me. But yeah, he was Aegon V was really interesting because he didn't believe in the incesty Targaryen relationships. He wanted to make things better for small folk. So there's also a lot of Dany imagery there. And something we will talk about later is the most recent Aegon in the books, who is Rhaegar and Elia Martell. His first wife before Lyanna's son was named Aegon Targaryen. In the books, you might know him as young Griff. Whether or not he is really that Aegon Targaryen is yet to be seen. But there is another, the weirdest bit about this is the fact that Lyanna was like kind of a jerk. It was like, I know what we'll name our new kid. The same thing you named the last baby you had with your last wife.
Everyone loves a reboot.
Yeah. It's too...
Those
It's a little too personal for me as somebody with an Alicia Lutz also as a half sister. So not.
So which Aegon is John then? I'm trying to put this.
He's Aegon your face. He slept with your
He's
egg.
Aegon my face. Aegon on my face. Got it.
Heyo.
Shame. Shame.
You're just mad because he's Duncan.
No, I love
Wait,
it.
Alicia, we do have an interesting question from the chat, though. Harry
God
wants
damn
to
it,
know.
Dan.
Harry
No.
wants to know what Jess would ask.
Yes. Don't do that again. Harry, should I read the books now, then, do you reckon?
I think it's really sort of what kind of experience you want to have with Game of Thrones, because it's very clear that they're going off book in a lot of ways, and I love the books. I'm actually more excited to read the books now that we have the TV version, because I think we're going to get a lot more information. It's going to be a lot more nuance and fun. So if you've got time to read like 6,000 pages of story, absolutely go for it. I think the books are really fun, and I think now that we've got probably at least a year, if not a year and a half, until the next season comes out, this is the perfect time to start reading the books.
Sweet. All right, so what was up with Tyrion skulking in the shadow? God, this was
yeah.
so creepy. Creeping in the shadows
No.
during that scene. Does he have feelings for Dany? Yeah, probably. Or is there something else going on? Yeah, probably.
Or maybe he just wanted to see some sweet boat boning. Like,
Yeah,
why
probably.
Not, you know?
I mean, Jon Snow perfectly sculpted as if
Sculpted
out of
booty.
marble.
Yeah.
Oh man, Jon Snow knows one thing, and it's
Does.
how to keep that ass high and
Yeah.
tight. Jon Snow's ass. Jon Snow's ass. Just gotta point that out.
I don't think that he has feelings for Dany, apart from he wants to make sure she's not getting distracted, because every
Yeah.
time Dany has had a love interest, it has definitely complicated his job. And I think
Yes.
with these two being sort of like tumultuous, unpredictable characters, he's just like, great, now I have to wrangle 2 of these people instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
John, you idiot, why are you doing this?
Especially because he's so bad at lying.
Yeah.
It's kind of that, I kind of view it as like that, this is going to sound weird, that kind of like best friend love where it's like you don't want to get with the person, but you know,
Right,
you
yeah.
connect on with them in such a level, and he's already, like you said, struggling with her, even when she's not involved with any kind of romantic relationship. So to have, like you, totally what you said. But I
there-
do think he has some feelings for her, just not like
I
romantic.
think they're
feelings.
platonic
Yeah.
feelings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stress on the boat. Well, I mean, like, it's okay, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Some people play rummy.
yeah.
Others bang
Some
their
people,
aunt.
some people roll dice, some people fuck each other, you know? Who cares?
But I do think
Like a carnival cruise.
I do think
John's cruising all right.
I do think that Tyrion is holding out to somehow keep a world that exists with Dany alive as queen and his brother and sister also still alive. Like he's still in Lannister preservation mode, and I think that them screwing is like just a knife in the back for that.
Yeah, that's a really good
The worst scene would have been Jorah sadly lowering a goblet that he had to the door, being like,
They cut that scene of Sir Jorah at the window, just like this.
Him walking in with a box of chocolates and flowers and being
Somebody did that with the meme of the guy watching the two girls, the stock photo, and it was like John watching Dany with Jorah behind her.
oh yeah.
Playing that song.
I saw another one of those with Qyburn with the mountain as the girlfriend and the White Walker as like the new
I want to see that.
Oh, there's
All right.
so many good ones.
So ultimately, we know that Jon is the true heir to the throne. How is this going to complicate matters for him and Dany? I want to jump in on this one and say I think she's going to, when she discovers this, end up getting jealous, and that's going to drive a wedge between them a little bit.
I think it's gonna complicate things. I think that she might get a little upset, but I think that the issue will be that she'll be kind of annoyed that Jon is gonna be so moral about it and not want probably anything to do with like sleeping with her and not wanting to do all these things. So I think that's where the real tension's going to be, especially because there is no way he didn't put an undead baby inside of that dead womb.
Okay.
There's no way.
I'm going to bring this point back up. I definitely think it's going to be complicated, but I do think that the three-headed dragon are now the babies of these people. So I do think, and I'm putting this back out there, that the Targaryen bastard was not Tyrion, and instead is Cersei and Jaime. Their baby's going to be one head of the three-headed dragon.
No.
And
Let her finish.
and Dany and John's baby is going to be one head of the three-headed dragon, and then we're waiting for, I don't know who the
and
third
the
Targaryen's
Night
going to
King
be.
and
Brienne.
Viserion's baby.
Let's also jump into some Westerosi politics real quick. When you take the black, you forfeit your right to be a king, though.
Yeah.
You can't father no children.
But the black don't
hold
exist
no
anymore,
land.
right?
He's not the Lord Commander anymore.
He's not the Lord Commander anymore. Has his watch really ended because he's still holding the oath?
His watch technically ended when they murdered him. His watch is literally over.
Interesting legal loophole. Once you're murdered, your watch is over.
Contacting a Westerosi lawyer. Well, you see here, you did get murdered, so that opens up a whole round of possibilities.
I almost wonder, based on like Jon is sort of this reluctant leader, he is willing to do the right thing, but I don't think he craves power in the same way that others do. So I still think he would maybe possibly abdicate his claim to the throne to give it to Dany.
Yeah.
And the last thing he wants is to be in King's Landing. He said so in the episode. 1 million people shoved in one place.
But he's
Fuck
also
that.
very about responsibility. And so if he finds out that he is the one that should be sitting on the throne, maybe the responsibility of it will, his honesty to a fault that we'll bring up in a second.
Yeah.
I think it'll be
the next question.
a fun, complicated plot line, and then everything will be okay.
I think, well, that's because I think that Jon Snow's going to end up writing Viserion, but
All right,
anyway.
well, hold on. All right, so should Jon just have lied about bending the knee to Cersei?
A billion percent.
Here's the
What a
thing.
dingus.
I thought that
So
too,
dumb.
and I 100% thought that. But then I was like, but if Cersei played a double game anyways, which I think she was going to do anyways, then it was good so that now he's an honest man no matter what you do.
I think
you know?
story-wise, it helped
Yes.
Jaime's argument
Exactly.
later too.
Yeah.
Like that
I-
was a good parallel of like, Cersei, you're fucked. We're on the good side.
Exactly.
At
Had
least
that
trying.
not happened, I think Cersei's plan would have gone without
So
a hitch.
from the outside looking in, yes, it was a good move, but if we were actually a part of that conversation, we would have been
If
like,
we were
you're
his
an
counsel,
idiot.
it'd be like, you're fucking
I think that Cersei actually asked that because she knew that he was not going to be able to lie. She knew he was going to say that because she needed them to come back to her and beg and put her in the power position of saying like, okay, fine, I'll do the nice thing and like give you guys all my people and they'll head north so that she could fuck them over in the end. She is pulling a full Tywin move. Every single thing that she is doing, I'm sure she's telling Euron that she's pregnant with his baby too, because I'm sure they've probably fucked in the low, down low. Like, Cersei is playing such a game here, and the way down to rubbing her stomach in the Tyrion scene, which we'll get to later. But like, she is doing all of this on purpose. She knows exactly the strengths and weaknesses of somebody like Jon Snow. She knows the strengths and weaknesses of her brother. Both brothers, and that's exactly why she played into the children hand. She knows she is doing this on purpose, and she's trying to one up everyone. And
I love her. love her. She's my favorite character on the show. I can't stop staring at her. All right, do you think that she's actually pregnant? And then based off that, do you think the next season is going to have both her and Dany in their third trimester?
Yeah, that's the
trying to
three-headed dragon.
kill each other.
Absolutely.
And everybody, yeah. You think so?
Oh yeah, that's that I strongly believe that these babies are the three-headed dragon that we haven't seen yet.
So why do you disagree with this?
I disagree because I think these people are the babies because everything was sort of set up because of everything that happened leading up to Robert's Rebellion. I think that a lot of times you can look at this as sort of a metaphorical thing, you know, like Lightbringer might not necessarily be a sword, it might be Jon Snow, you know, things like that you sort of have to come into play. And there's just such a strength in terms of like the hair color stuff, which I know is so weird and doesn't really hold up on the show, but does in the book specifically in terms of like, you know, the genetics of all of this stuff. So I super don't think that the kids are part of the story because I think if they were, we would have gotten a lot of this stuff a lot sooner.
Okay, so that's the three-headed dragon thing, but do you think that Cersei's pregnant at all?
I don't think so. Based on just like how overt she was with the like, oh, I'm not drinking, and oh, let me touch my stomach,
but
and
that
the
is
whole
this season. That is the season. It's a little beat over the head with some stuff.
Yeah,
so
but
even if it might not be right for the character,
agree.
this season spells out that we're spelling stuff out for the audience.
She might be Preg City, Alicia. She might have a couple.
She
of
might be
100%
Preg City, as you said, Jason. But I'm with Alicia on this. I think she still might be pulling the ultimate fast one. She thought that was the best way to bring her whole family under her heel. Jaime was going to do what she said because of their kid, and
Although
Tyrion.
he started turning at that last second, she had to threaten him with the.
Well, yeah, because she at the end betrayed. She's like, well, no, I'm just going to straight up betray humanity. And at his core, Jaime is a good guy. He's been on this redemption arc for a while. He strayed from the path a little bit because he fell back under her spell. But now he's like, this is so much bigger than just us making another child that will eventually meet an untimely end. This is about humanity versus the undead, and that's a fight that Jaime, who in his heart of hearts is a noble guy, can't shy away from.
I also think that her threatening Jaime and going that far, though, gives us the reason for Jaime to turn on her and be the younger brother that kills her.
The Valonqar?
Yeah, the Valonqar.
I think that's what we got right there. That's a setup for next season.
Absolutely.
A Valonqario!
Absolutely.
Yes.
And it'll be super great when he murders her and then the Night King turns her into the Night Queen.
That would be
happen, it's gonna be delicious.
That actually is really
That's
cool.
actually pretty sweet.
Right?
Yeah,
oh,
I like
so
that.
good, so good.
All right, so we also got confirmation that Robert's Rebellion was a total lie. Now, does this also confirm that Ned was kind of a prick? Maybe. He knew that the rebellion was bullshit, and then he still kept marching to King's Landing. So, what do you guys think? I feel like Ned, he's not a dick, but he's much like potentially Jon. He's honest and loyal to a fault. So he kind of set himself up for his own murder.
I think if you look at this in the same way that Bran sort of explained why he put himself in the position he put himself in with Tyrion and Cersei, you sort of see where Ned's point of view is coming from. He needed to protect his sister's son, but he also needed to support his friend in order to keep his friend who wants to murder all Targaryens from knowing that his son, his nephew is a Targaryen and all of these things. So I think that it was sort of one of those positions where he's like, it saves me on this end, it saves me on this end, and yeah, I'm damned either way. So let's just let it play out because politics happen and this stuff happens.
I think he did the right thing. I think what led to this unfolding was Robert's fault. But I think Ned needed to protect a child, which he knew was related to him, and the king was crazy at the time. You don't want your nephew or whoever being associated with a mad king.
Yeah.
So he did what he had to do.
And he knew that Aerys was a shitty leader. He knew he was a crazy king. So
I also love
out.
that Ned Stark has been this pinnacle of goodness and the White Knight, and now all of a sudden it's kind of like, oh no, he's playing the same dirty gray area game that everyone else is.
Which you have to. You're forced to in Westeros.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dan?
I don't think it was entirely without merit. I agree with Jason in that, there was a despicable, murderous ruler. Yes, it wasn't as noble of a rebellion as everyone was led to believe, but history is written by the victors, and that's how it was presented. And if it kept his sister's son safe, then all the better.
Cool. right, so at Mildly Amused asked, why did Lyanna steal her baby's name from Elia's murdered toddler? I want to just put this out there. I have no idea what we're talking about right here, other than, like, who's Elia? Who's the toddler that was murdered? I don't, because I haven't read the books.
Well,
Also-
allow me to explain.
Yes.
I was going to say a quick shout out to Donna Dickens for asking that question. Donna is awesome. You should definitely read her Game of Thrones content as well over at Uprocks and Hitfix.
Oh,
Yeah.
Donna's Mildly Amused?
Yes,
Oh, got it.
Donna is wonderful. She is a huge fan of Game of Thrones, both the source material and the show. This drove me crazy. This drove me absolutely mental because we've already been told that this character, Aegon Targaryen from Elia Martell, who was Rhaegar Targaryen's first wife, he was betrothed to.
Who are the Martells again?
The Martell is
Dorns.
Oberyn Martell, and
Red
the
Viper.
Dornish, the
And that's
Dornish.
why John would technically be a
Sand.
Sand.
A Sand because he was born, but because he's not
Yeah.
illegitimate.
You know, like Spain of Thrones?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, Spain of
So
Thrones.
Elia was the first wife of
Rhaegar.
Of Rhaegar Targaryen.
And she had a couple kids.
She had 3 kids.
Okay.
And it was Danny. Oh my God, I just got so confused by everything. 'cause
Viserys?
That's her brother. No, Elia Martell had 3 kids. They were all murdered. But one of the things in the book is that they said that Aegon Targaryen, which was his last son, was actually swapped out via Varys and sent over to Essos to live and grow up, and then he becomes young Griff in the books, and he's a part of the Golden Company, which is a whole other thing, and which is why I still don't necessarily think that young Griff is completely out of the picture here.
because of the Golden Company.
Right.
Yeah,
involvement.
because the Golden Company is coming back into play. I think it would be really weird at this point for them to bring him in, but you can't take
Well, so-
away the Targaryen aspect of the Golden Company in
Okay.
terms of what can happen in the future.
Go back. So
Yes.
So that's for him. So then who's the murdered toddler?
That's Aegon Targaryen. Whether or not he was actually murdered or
Yeah.
not,
Oh, I
we don't
see
know.
what
The
you're
first
saying.
Aegon
So-
was murdered, then he has a baby with Lyanna Stark, and he's like, let's just name this one Aegon too. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Rhaegar was just like,
yeah, it's like when I have a fish and I name all the fish.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Bubbles.
2 kids. Oh, it's 2 kids. Sorry, I said 3. It's 2 kids.
It's like
Sorry, guys.
on The Simpsons how they have Snowball, then Snowball 2.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So there was 2
Exactly.
kids with the previous wife.
Yeah.
Both of them died,
Yeah.
although potentially the boy was smuggled out and now works over at the Golden Company.
Yes.
So there could be
Essos.
2
But
Aegons
then
in play.
on the
Yes.
other opposite side, he remarries Lyanna, and she has a baby, which is Jon Snow, but really is actually just renamed
Aegon Targaryen.
Aegon Targaryen. That is
Yeah.
fucked.
There's
Not
gonna be an Aegon.
remarried, just married full
There's going to
stop.
be an Aegon Bowl for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, it's 2 kids. No.
For sure.
The mountain killed the kids. That's why the mountain and Oberyn had that big fight and why it was so dramatic. And yes, it was 2 kids. I'm so sorry, chat. I'm sorry I said 3.
Gotcha.
You gotta break it.
Who sent the
can't.
mountain to kill the 2 kids?
That was Tywin, I believe, right? I think it was Tywin Lannister. Yeah.
What a dick. All right, let's get into the second big moment. The wall actually coming down. So what kind of fire does an ice dragon breathe? I have no idea because
Blue.
if it's
Purple.
if it's cold, how can it melt the wall? But if
So-
it's not
Breath of
cold
the
and if
Wild
it's
Here's-
just like
Blue
shaking,
fire.
I think
then
I've
could
got
be
it.
like, bub, 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 bub.
I think I've cracked this cold case.
Okay.
So
Oh God.
Yeah.
we've learned many times before from both the books and the TV show that the wall was imbued with all sorts of magical enchantments. Not only is it a physical imposition through which the White Walkers can't get their army past, but there's ostensibly some sort of magic imbued in it to prevent them from getting through. It's not a science question like so many Kyle Hills would have you believe of whether or not this fire can melt the wall, but it is a magical dragon fire. He brought this dragon back to life with its magical blue flame. It may breathe winter, but it has different effects on different things, and this dragon fire has properties that can counteract the enchantments in the wall.
So it was so it was the magic fire actually reacting to the enchantments, which then caused the wall to break apart
Yes.
from the inside.
I don't think it's melting so much as it is like burrowing a hole through it and
Yeah.
disrupting its structural integrity.
Breathing the
Yep.
spell dispel.
Pretty
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Cool.
Yeah, because if you look at how it came down, I think Dan's absolutely right. Like you can see
It's
it's
fast
not
moving.
melting. It's crazy. Yeah.
I thought it was purple this whole time.
Well, it looks very purple. It's very violet-y.
I thought it was purple the
I
whole
thought it
time.
was purple too when
you
I was watching on
colorblind?
my chat.
It's blue now. It looks blue now.
It looked blue last
That
night.
looks purple right there. It looks blue indigo.
It looks blue.
All right, take a look at this dress next. What do we think, Chad?
God. All right, moving on.
Nice violet.
Did anything in the finale actually sway you in your Bran is the Night King theory stance? I guess that's to me. No, I'm actually more convinced than ever that Bran is the Night King.
I am still on the fence, but I do like the idea that Bran's the Night King because this made me think more that the Night King and the White Walkers did set a trap for the
Yes,
dragon.
absolutely.
It made me feel like that episode was less clumsy because if you look back to that episode at the Frozen Lake, the White Walkers have 3 spears, 1 for each of the dragons. And they only get 1. They were probably angling to get all 3, but 1 is all they needed to get through the wall. They probably knew the dragon was something they needed to get through the wall, and if Bran is this guy, he would also know that Dany had the dragons,
Well, wait.
or maybe he has the sight as well.
But here's the thing. If Bran is the Night King, then the Night King would have known he would have only been able to hit the one dragon, right?
Not necessarily because things are, with his sight,
Timey
things
wimey.
kind of change based on, circumstance. It's sort of not necessarily everything is set in stone in the future. It's all sort of malleable and he can see multiple options. I think that I agree with Dan. I think that this made a stronger case for it, and I think it connects back to not only the Bran is all Brans and all Brandons because the 13th, Lord Commander of the Night Watch, who's apparently the Night King, was named Brandon Stark. I think it ties back to maybe why Bran only goes looking for certain information rather than giving all full information. Because if the Night King has access to what Bran knows, he can work better to try and circumnavigate everything that is happening. And I think that's sort of where I took why.
And if
maybe
he's
Bran
not,
doesn't look for stuff.
and if he's not the Night King, I could also see the Night King being a separate person who has the sight, like the Three-Eyed Raven, who can exist outside of sort of normal space-time and be active in these recollections when Bran is going back to the past. That's why anytime he sees him in one of those memories, Night King looks at him and it's scary because he also can sort of walk between worlds.
That's something I think I subscribe to that theory more than Bran is actually the Night King. Only because why would then Bran need to be the Three-Eyed Raven? Why was it so important that he became the Three-Eyed Raven if he's just gonna all fuck it all up anyways? I just think that the Night King has the sight. Why not? He's a magical being.
I mean, that's still a possibility. I just lean more towards the other one.
It's definitely a possibility because the fact of the matter is that we only know the capacity of the magic of the Children of the Forest. They, put the magic on the wall that help the wall stay up. They're the ones that put the dragon glass in Brandon Stark, the Lord Commander's heart and turned him into the Night King.
Right.
So there's still a lot of questions there, and I think that a lot of this points to we're going to head, as far north as we can or go on some sort of hunt or search for the children. And I agree with you, it is a little violet-y purple. That's maybe my TV is bad, but I was right there with purple.
All right, anyway, @Spud1903 wants to know, can Bran see everything that's ever happened but has to be told where and when a thing has happened to actually see it?
Yeah. Is it like teleport? Like you gotta be there?
I think we don't know.
Yeah, it does seem like that. Like he at least needs an index or like a marker, a bookmark or something. Because and I think that because of the limitations of just being a human, even though he is the Three-Eyed Raven, he's not quite there yet. That it's not one of those like Cerebro where it's like you see everything.
Yeah.
That is true, and he's always made mention that he didn't get the training he should have gotten.
Right.
Yeah.
Because of his own damn fault.
Right.
Yeah, because he just had to muck shit up. Bran.
So do you guys think that Tormund, Beric, and crew are all dead or alive?
No way.
Tormund's alive.
They're
Tormund for
alive.
sure is alive.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is about as convincing as people were like, Jaime definitely drowned in that river.
Yeah.
No, if you watch the clip, they stop destroying the wall pretty much right in front of Tormund because you're worried in that moment, oh my god, is this the last I'm going to see of Tormund? Then it stops, you're like, okay, they're fine.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to have...
You have to see it on screen.
There's like 3 buildings left standing
Yeah.
on the right-hand side of the wall.
He's got some shoveling to do, but he's alive.
It's like being in Buffalo, New York. All right, so we also now know that the Night King, I can say that because I used to live there and had to dig tunnels out of my house. The Night King can ride a dragon. What are you hoping to see in an epic dragon battle between Dany, the Night King, and then potentially Jon Snow or 3 babies?
I have
3 babies riding dragons, or 3 people riding babies. To battle!
I have a theory on this one. I think that the reason Jon Snow was brought back from the dead was so that he could be dead in a way that connects with Viserion, and he will ultimately end up riding Viserion. They're gonna have to, because even if they take down the Night King, like to still have an undead dragon running around, as we, as they said in the episode last night, like dragons just do whatever they want. They don't know about rules or like what thing they can or cannot eat.
Because they're motherfucking dragons.
Exactly. I truly think that Jon, when he goes like, yo, I can't be king, he'll be kind of undead, or maybe something bad will happen. He'll get on Viserion and he'll fly far, far north to the lands of always winter. He'll disappear. That'll be the 3rd time that Dany gets betrayed, as she needs to be betrayed by love based on the prophecy from the House of the Undying. So that's sort of where I'm at with that one.
Why would he ditch out that far, though? Why wouldn't he just be like, I'm going to go hang out at Winterfell for the rest of my life?
No, because I don't think he'll be able, because he's technically not a Stark anymore, so he can't rule Winterfell. So if he's both ice and fire and he can ride the dragon, like, the thing that makes the most sense to me is Jon Snow becoming like the new Night King, basically, as I've mentioned a bunch, and kind of martyring himself to protect the realms of the living by becoming the leader of the dead.
God damn.
How does
I'm gonna make an alliance. You won't like it.
let's want to know. The Night King's blue. So does he need? Thank you. Does he need like the snow? Does he need winter to be there for them to like have like a habitable environment?
Yeah, I think he does. I think
so.
it's a lot like if
Is
you
he
played
like Snow Miser?
Did you ever play StarCraft?
Yes.
It's like the Zerg. They
Yes.
need the creep in order to move. So as they go beyond the wall, they're going to spread winter further and further because you already see it spreading past the wall. Their influence is growing as the magical enchantments weaken.
So he is
and
Snow
now,
Miser.
Yes, he's
He
pretty
just
much.
wants winter forever. That's right. That's all he wants.
That's why it's
He just-
important that
yeah.
Jaime saw snow in King's Landing.
There's also a nice parallel to
I thought that
the
was
season
raining
6
snow.
finale when he arrived in King's Landing, everything's on fire. Now he's leaving King's Landing, everything is snowing.
He's just bummed out, man. The Night King, his main goal is like he just wants more. He wants to stretch out. He wants to put his legs up,
Yeah.
lie down without having to bump into some undead thing.
Maybe he wants to smooch.
We do. Melisandre
not?
did say she's coming back, so she might have to raise another person.
I definitely think that
yeah.
next season she is going to show up with her own detachment of sort of like red
Fire
priests
priests.
to like help augment their forces because otherwise they're screwed.
She always knew this was going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna
Yeah.
be so good.
Yeah, it's funny. Sorry, I'm thinking video games. Anyway, also, what was the name? I'm like, well, so then she would be like an enchanted jewel in the sword of. And I'm like, no, stop, just stop. All right, what was the Night King's plan to cross the wall if Dany hadn't come up north to save them and lost a dragon in the process? As in, did he have a backup plan if it was a plan in the first place? Is the Night King just incredibly lucky? I think the Night
he's
King
got the
knows
sight.
because he's got the sight and or he's Bran.
But he's also got time on his side. Like these people don't need sustenance to survive. They're just just waiting for their chink in the
They've
armor.
been marching. They could honestly have been marching for literally hundreds of years. Like we have no idea like how far, because they don't know how far up the lands of always winter go, and so you don't know how far these dead folks came and everything.
And plus they had to go back, so oh no, we forgot the big chains! Oh no! Oh, damn it!
Gotta go back to Hard Home Depot.
Do they tell you how far up they are in the books at all, or is it still
About 3 miles off the interstate, just keep going past the snowy stuff.
There's the lands of always winter stretch beyond where anyone has ever been, including the children.
Well, they have so much dang land. Just stay up north, y'all.
I think
Come on, don't
Chris
get greedy.
Artates in the chat says, find the Horn of Winter, and I think we're going to get to that in a little bit, but I think that could have been another plan, this sort of mythical artifact that would maybe let him just toot the horn and raise the wall.
Yeah. I think he was planning this. He knew what he had to find some way to get that wall down, and he's been playing this long game for thousands of years, literally.
I like that. So there are 6 episodes in the next season. Now that the White Walkers are through the wall, will every episode just, God, I hope not, just be like a zombie battle? Because
really.
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so because it takes so much money to do those battles, and B, I think they're going to take some lessons away from this season and understand that people want a lot of this sort of like backroom wheeling and dealing. So I think it is going to be a lot of these like sort of more stripped down things. You're going to have these epic battles, but I don't think they're going to overdo it because the more you show these epic zombie dragon battles, the less of an effect they have and like the less impactful they are. So I don't think it's just going to be non-stop like dead-on living violence.
I do think they've introduced about, 12, 20 Deus Ex Machinas in here. So I think that the real question is more just like who's going to rescue, when it looks like the whites are overpowering the South, who's going to sweep in? I think it might be the Red Priests.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I think we're going to get a lot more just sort of very low-key emotional devastation from what happens as the Night King and his boys start raising the already dead as they march down towards winter.
That's why he wants to spread winter so he can have a cold one with the boys.
Yeah, he's just looking for a vacation. He just wants to pop a cold one.
I've been so stressed for thousands of years.
I've heard the Dornish really know how to party. Why can't I come too?
I want Dornish red.
He just wants to find his Cheers bar.
Yeah, where everybody knows his name.
So moving on to the biggest death of the episode and maybe the season, Littlefinger. Yes! Now the Stark sisters, thank God, were playing him all along and ended up using his nonsense against him. Where did you guys rank Littlefinger as far as a player in the Game of Thrones?
I'm
I'd say he's like
so
5.
sad.
I'd say he's like 4.
No, he's in number 1, man.
He's
the
not number one.
my
Cersei's
little
not
finger.
number one.
Cersei's
He's number 1 with my little baby
I ranked
finger,
him.
man.
I
He's
ranked
the
him very
best.
highly as a dark horse player because he survived this long and accrued so much power without most people really noticing him. And anyone who did notice, he either marginalized them or just threw them out the moon door.
So then because of that, how do you think his ending played out? Were you satisfied?
I was satisfied as a fan because you knew he needed to meet a grisly end, ideally at the hands of the Stark sisters he was trying to pit against one another. However, I felt like that plot line was really clunky this season. I don't think it was deployed well. It felt more just like a holding pattern they kept these 3 characters in. Like, we need to move all these pieces around the board and get Jon to like fall in love with Dany, do all this. What do we do with these other characters that you love? I don't know, just have them like argue and like look at letters at Winterfell for 7 hours.
I think this plotline was the biggest gap of George R.R. Martin not being there. I think this was definitely like Littlefinger needs to go, and Sansa and Arya are going to do it. Fill in the gaps, and then they just didn't do it service. So the payoff was greater than the build up to it.
Yes, I agree.
I'm very
me,
upset.
I felt as much, one, I'm thrilled that they went the direction they went because I would have absolutely hated the Arya versus Sansa thing to actually be legit. That being said, like you said, Baelish has gotten so powerful and is so like creepy and creative on his like machinations that I felt that his quick death by Arya's hand was too little for me. I wanted to see a more pomp and circumstance death for him.
I'm so sad. I'm so sad because all he wanted to do was just be a big finger. Well, I mean, he just wanted to grow and grow. And here's the thing, man. Like, I get it. All men must die. All men must die. I get it. But why did he have to die like such a little bitch?
Because he is a little bitch. He is a little bitch.
That's so
cried
good, and
before he died.
huge shout out to that actor.
Get outta
Every
here.
moment of that scene, he played it so perfectly.
Aidan Gillen.
Aidan Gillen, just amazing,
Well, that's the
amazing
thing,
actor.
right? He's a Billy. He's a bully.
He's a real Billy.
Billy.
He's the Blue Ranger.
That moment when he recognizes it, it's like one of those
So
just.
weak.
What? But that's what I'm saying. He's a bully that has gotten confronted, and then he started crying because that's what bullies actually almost always are.
Yeah.
A little
But
bit.
he's pathetic. I would have loved to have seen a little bit more kind of fuckery and torture of him. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
would
what I
have
mean.
loved,
I wanted more of a pomp and circumstance.
you know,
death.
and maybe we'll get some of that maybe next season because I think there is 0% chance that Arya is not going to use his face and go down to King's Landing and figure out what's going on. She is going to be like a boss-ass spy, and I'm so here for it.
I wanted him to know he got and like to be like, oh, I get it. I understand. Well played.
He's not
you know?
respect. He doesn't have any respect for anyone, especially women that he just uses all the time for his own emotional
He uses
manipulation.
everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, but
We gotta
especially the
move
women on
on.
the show.
What does this? Huh?
Chad is saying you get your pizza party. Is that true?
Oh shit!
Wait.
That's
Do
right. We
Yeah.
got pizza and an ice cream
Yeah,
party.
because-
Yes, we did.
nice.
That's what it
That
is.
was the deal.
Half of one.
What?
Why? Because we got our full
We
prophecy
can
right.
discuss afterwards. There's a reason.
God damn it.
I tried to fight for
Well, I quit. Now who's gonna host this show? Dan,
What
come
does that
on here.
mean for the veil now that he's out of the game?
Kyle in a room. They're not allowed to come host the show. All right.
Nerdist is a ladder.
Nerdist is a ladder.
Got you, real. God damn it. What does this mean for the What does this mean for the Vale now that he is out of the game? Does this mean that little Robin Aaron seriously is next in line for the Warden in the West?
Yep, he is.
I hope that.
Boob King. Boob King.
Sansa's still married to him?
Sansa's still married to 3 people technically.
She's a widow for the others.
No,
but
she's not actually married to Robin Aaron. I think that no, she was just like.
She's been
hanging out.
married to Tyrion and
Tyrion
to
and
Ramsay.
That's
Okay.
it.
I think there was maybe talk of that, just at the clans, but I think
Yeah.
they're more just like cousins at this point because of the
Yeah.
Lysa Aaron connection.
Gotcha.
that's it.
All right.
He
Yeah,
needs,
they weren't actually
he needs to
married.
be tossed down that
That's
hole
a
as well,
great.
for
That's
sure.
a great vantage point, though, for when the whites come, like from the
You can,
ear.
you can see a lot from the moon door.
Mostly the ground.
They're just gonna like one of the strong boys, like the giant, is just gonna like throw the chain up and they're gonna climb it up and just pull him down.
And I was,
right.
oh.
So bye-bye Jaime. Another Lannister's loyalty was tested this week, with Jaime more concerned about the dead army than sticking with Cersei's double crossing. Now, I think we kind of already touched upon this enough where I think this is just us gearing up for next season for him to be set up as the little brother that kills her, because now he knows that she's ready to sacrifice him if necessary.
This was one of the best played scenes of the season.
Yeah.
The one where I genuinely thought they were gonna pull the trigger and just like kill off this major character, and I was like just so tense throughout that whole scene. I think it was well played. Like understandably, like he survives, but like at that point,
I was ready. I was
Yeah.
like, all
I
right.
thought for sure I thought that was going to be our big shocker, that she was
Yeah.
going to let him kill.
absolutely.
Let him kill him.
Does she have like a secret nod for not killing somebody when she means to kill them? Like, because why? How did the mountain know not to kill?
The mountain can understand conversation, so she
yeah.
probably told him.
It was like, okay, when I nod, don't actually.
If
kill
you
him.
watched in
Don't do it.
widescreen, you can see Qyburn in the corner going, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
See, I
This is
think
a bad one.
she had had a pre-conversation with the
the mountain?
mountain and said, "I want you to scare the living crap out of him," and then he just called her, and then Jaime just called her
nod.
bluff.
Small nod means don't kill him.
Yeah.
Big nod means yes, kill
Yes.
him. Yeah.
Although I will give, I
Fully
mean,
committed.
Cersei has set the bar for scornful glance.
Yes.
Like there's no better.
Nobody
person.
withers better than
Yes,
Hetty.
nobody does. Like, oh man.
It's good.
Look at
Right, and also right after she goes, and don't forget that or remember that I'm here to help. Will you remember? I think not. And then she like gives this like,
Right,
like
yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
won, bitch, and
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, I guess you did
She's
win.
like a really powerful Regina George.
truly accurate.
On Wednesdays, we fuck our brothers.
Oh man, really, her and Danny should be getting along better.
So we got a little Jaime Brienne reunion, which was nice, where she urged him to forget loyalty and do the right thing and join forces with the Starks and Dany. Would you want to see Brienne and Jaime take up arms together in the coming war? I think whether we want them to or not, they will.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
I want to see him smooch. I want to see him smooch. I know.
I don't know that I need the smooching, but that
Listen.
back-to-back, great swords going at it.
She's
Okay.
so friend zoned. Look, she's friend zoned in that scene.
I think I can settle
come
this
on.
three-way with Tormund.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
also fine. They can have a thruple. Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh. You know what? Brienne deserves a thruple.
It's a love triangle.
She
for
deserves
sure.
everything.
Tormund looks like he's into watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tormund's into
But like, so
Yeah,
does-
Tormund draws. There are no lines.
But Chet, what do you think Tormund's into? What?
Is Tormund a watcher? Or is Tormund a doer?
He's right now. He's a watcher on the wall, baby.
East watcher, baby.
Tormund likes to gargoyle. All right, so
yes.
Ooh.
in a corner somewhere. All right, so we also had a couple murder fake outs from Cersei. First, thinking that she might actually have Tyrion killed by the mountain, and then, like we mentioned before, Jaime Do you think that she should have committed to either of those?
If she was smart.
I would have killed, just for the sake of the show, I think Jaime would have been a huge shocker.
It makes sense character-wise though that she can't, because that whole conversation with her and Tyrion about like how family's the most important, how he regrets even killing his father.
And he brought up the kids.
Exactly,
too.
the kids. He was so sad about the kids. I think it would be a betrayal to her character if she killed her family.
Well,
if she
also,
killed any of her family.
I think she strategically, when you watch that scene, she wanted to fucking murder him so badly, but she knew he had to go back to Dany. They had to have the whole back and forth after that, and she was just like, you could see in her eyes that she was
Bad
like
bitch.
salivating over the thought of being able to murder Tyrion, but she knew in order for her game to actually work, she had to let him go.
Not only that, but it also makes Tyrion somewhat beholden to her.
Yep. Right.
Because now he thinks that she's got this glimpse of like, because she's potentially pregnant, and because they're talking about family, maybe this is finally that glimmer of hope that she includes him in there somewhere in the back of her mind.
And I do think this is also the showrunners in particular wanting to preserve that ultimate sort of showdown between Jaime and Cersei for the final season. And I do think one or both of them will die as a result.
Yeah,
they might both die.
That actually is one of my critiques of this season, is that these characters, for the sake of, they had like a story shield, like plot
Story
shield.
armor.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's not the world that we've built. Like Game of Thrones nobody has plot armor.
Exactly. This season, everyone's Daryl Dixon.
Yeah.
All right, so Euron is back, baby, and then he's gone again. How annoying was he at the beginning of the meeting? I just wanted to be like, bitch, sit down. Like, you have no
Be
say.
humble.
Yeah.
Come on.
Listen to Kendrick. Understand how the world
Listen
works.
to Kung Fu Kenny.
He's just he's bad at being in on Cersei's schemes. Like, he was so clearly like, oh, okay, now I gotta go. Like, cool, I got it. Like, it reminded me very much, and I don't know if any of you guys watch Orphan Black, but like Crystal last at the end of the season where she had to be like very like sneaky and spy and just mess it up.
It's the first time he's had to act somewhat normal, and I don't think he can pull it off.
No, he can't. He's a very bad actor.
Just nuts.
Yeah.
Do you think that he felt out of place this season at all?
I don't think so. I thought he filled that sort of like over-the-top villain slot that a character like Ramsay occupied.
Right.
I thought he was good there. I think he felt out of place in that we didn't get enough time to stretch that out or develop it properly. He was just immediately hilariously evil.
Yeah.
I wonder what was left on the cutting room floor with his character in particular, because Pilu did an interview where he said that Euron Greyjoy makes the Bolton guys look like, little twinkly fairy babies, like nothing they were supposed to be like. What he was supposed to do, according to this interview, was very, very evil. So I'm curious with that, but I also am just so curious as to why the heck the Greyjoys are even still involved in this story at all. They seem very pointless beyond Euron in this capacity.
It's honestly just Euron, like, we need ships, and I need you to, like, maybe we'll smooch later if you give me the ships.
We actually bring it up in Nerdist News today where, and I think we're going to mention it here in a little bit, but, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to save it for this next question because it kind of goes into that. So what did you think about Theon's big moment? Do you think that he subscribes to the everything happens for a reason mantra? So that's where I want to jump in and say that, him finally kind of standing up and like taking over that role of being the head of the house that he always should have been, and like kind of just gaining some self-respect back, and going off, potentially saving his sister that they then go after their uncle who was trying to get the Golden Company, managed to beat him somehow and then take over those ships. So that's going to put Cersei back on the back burner as far as trying to like play her big hand.
Yeah, I just feel like how everything was done with all of this and with Theon has been so weird. So like it would have been so much more interesting to me if like halfway, like after Yara and all of them are captured, instead of him being like some sad, pathetic, whiny boy, like he had his own separate storyline that was like him trying to figure out how to get to Yara and spend that time doing that stuff. Like all of this is just, I find Theon's character so annoying because I don't feel like, for what they're trying to accomplish with him and how he's supposed to be a mirror to certain characters in certain ways, they just aren't, they're eschewing those character moments, obviously for other character moments because of time and because they decided they were going to do these like 14 episodes and be done or whatever, but I'm very frustrated and think that he is not serving his purpose as effectively as he could, and I found it to be more annoying than anything because I'm sure they're keeping him there for a reason, but I hate how they're stringing him along so far to keep him in the game.
People forget he burned kids alive.
He's a monster,
He's
yeah.
a piece of shit. So, I mean, he paid for it. He lost his dongus, but, you know, it's not enough. And why was that guy's finishing movie?
Why doesn't the guy who famously doesn't have balls?
Yeah.
He's like, I know what I'll do. Wait a minute. Oh, no.
Yeah, well, why was that guy's finishing movie? He's like, I'm going to kill you. Don't get up. I'm going to kill you. Okay, I'm going to kill you now. I'm going to go for your donger. Wait, you don't have a donger.
Yeah, like he knew that. Everyone knew that already of the Greyjoys, right? I just.
And I love how the rest of the men were like, I guess that's enough to follow you, Theon.
Hey, man, you straight up murdered that guy with a rock? We're in.
It's like, we just kept him around so we could like do this.
And they were all like, for Yara.
I don't feel like the
love it.
Greyjoys are the
not for
smartest
Yara.
houses on the hill. You know, they're like
they're missing a few
They're like
marbles
one
for sure.
gable short of a mansion kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of a green.
Of a green.
Bunch of dumb joys.
Yes. All right, so
seriously.
speaking of balls, here's some other bits that we noticed. Bran and Pod left to go drinking. Do you guys think they're just still chilling and drinking?
Oh man, when that
hope
happened,
so.
I was like, they're gonna do something cool. I leaned over to I was like, something cool is gonna happen, and then it never did.
Yeah, I'm happy.
They got happy hour.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, if this is all going down, if my option is, hey, I'm sitting at the bar and chilling, I'm going to continue to do so.
Yeah. Door to shreds or half off.
They could have helped. They could have helped the Hound carry the box up, but
Yeah.
I guess it was pretty impressive. He did it alone.
Less people there to possibly die, the better was probably their
That's a
thing.
good thought process, yes. All right, Qyburn, do you think that he gets his hands on those ice zombie remains? I say yeah.
Qyburn is
Yeah.
definitely like rubbing one out with that dead
Yeah,
fish.
yes.
I'm sorry.
He had a big old boinger for that. for
It
sure.
was
He stood
so
up.
These robes always tent like this.
it was so hideous.
Have you seen that meme of him looking at it and it says underneath, like, find you a man that looks, that looks at you the way that Qyburn looks at this
Yes.
man?
No, but I love it.
Oh, look at that
look
handbag.
at him. He's such a creep.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
When you finally match on Tinder, right?
Talk about a fleshlight.
Well done.
Oh, nice.
plus.
So I was not a fan of this. We almost got a Clegane Bowl. Not that I'm not a fan of the potential Clegane Bowl, but I just didn't like the so obvious, like, fan service
Yeah,
of this line.
So bad.
That was one knot that didn't
Like,
need to be
hey
tied.
y'all, we couldn't fit it into this season, so just as a heads up, don't get mad at us, chat. We're gonna have it next season.
It's pretty much like, we've been reading the subreddit, we get it.
You get it.
my
You'll
God.
have your thing.
And it was just so inserted in such a weird way. Like, why wasn't, while everyone was like waiting for Danny to show up, the two of them just off on the side doing this? Why was it like, all right, we're going to start this meeting.
Yeah.
JK, the Hound's going to come up and be like, I have some words to say to you, brother, and then walk away. Like, it was
Yeah.
so stupid
Yeah.
and such
Yeah.
dumb
It's like, by the way, are you allergic to this costume you're wearing? Your eyes are blood red.
Seriously. So
All right, so to counter that scene, which I hated, I loved this one. What did you guys think of Brienne and the Hounds? Like, hey, remember when I killed you? How's our girl? She's a murder mystery. We're proud parents.
See, that was a bit of fan service I actually liked. That was
Yeah,
nice.
I
I was like,
agree.
that was one of those things like when you had the Hound talking with Tormund about Brienne. Like, that was one of those things where it's just like, okay, there's two characters that I love, and it maybe it's a little fan servicey, but it felt organic and fun in a way that I enjoyed that didn't like detract from the episode.
They're just like proud parents. I love
yeah,
that.
they are the proudest murder parents
Which
I've ever
burly
seen.
boy will win her heart?
Genji. Oh, you mean
All right,
Brienne.
so without getting into too much detail, what did you guys think of the season overall, and then how do you think that this season ranks in the series? Let's go one at a time.
It's really hard for me to rank seasons. I mean, right now I'm in on this season, so it's number one right now. It's hard for me to go all the way back and not know the things that I know. The thing about this season though is that I do think it lacked some George R.R. Martin novel writing. I think novel writing and screenplay writing are totally different, and he's one person who can do both. And it's worth it to note that is one person who can do both.
Dan?
This season is one of the worst. I still love the show, and that's because it has been my favorite show for the past 7 years, and it's still my favorite show. That being said, this has been one of the worst seasons, if not the worst, because it feels like they sort of abandoned the meticulous attention to detail and world building that they've done so well for so long. And the showrunners mentioned in the video after the show that now the first 5 seasons are about the universe expanding, now it's about the universe contracting. But because of the reduced episode order and the fact they've outstripped the books, it feels sort of clunky and clumsy, and you can really miss George R. R. Martin's prose. And that's been a big problem for me. So it kind of feels like you didn't leave enough time to finish like the video you're watching, and then you're like watching the rest of it on like 1.5 speed or like 200% speed, and you're just like, oh, how does this end? I gotta know. Okay, oh wow, dragons? Oh really? Oh, they're smooching? Oh geez. So I think that it is not their best work, but I'm still in it to win it. I'm here till the end.
My boy Baelish is out, so I'm out too. Fuck Game of Thrones, I'm out. I'm watching season 7.
You can't be out because we need you back.
I know. Listen, this season was all right. I think it had some weak as fuck moments, but there were some moments that were great. I mean, my thing came true. Jon and Daenerys boned on a boat. That was like the highlight of the
that
season.
Should be the reason why we
Think of the good things that happened. Don't be too quick to shit on the season.
I guarantee you on the writer's room board, it literally said they boned.
They boned.
And that's where they started everything.
And they did bone. So and that's fantastic.
Prepare to be boarded.
You know what I mean? It's a lot. It was a lot of building blocks for the next season. So I'm actually going to view season 6, right?
Season 8 is next.
Season 8. So this is season 7. I'm going to view season 7 and season 8 as one season, because I think this is the building blocks.
Oh, interesting.
That's how I'm going to
kind of like
view
that.
it.
Yeah, I definitely am looking at this season and next season sort of as one season, and I wish that they had just done all of the episodes and done this all together. I would have rather have waited 2 years for one like 13 episode length thing. I'm with Dan on every point. Instead of saying the worst, I mean, it might be the worst. I still feel like I have to sit with this season. I am struggling with this a lot because I've read the books. These are things that I've been waiting to have happen and have wanted to have happen, but I am so 1,000,000,000% on board with you with the fact that the writing in the nuance is just completely wiped from this show, and that's what I loved. I loved that we had these time constraints set up, and this world was going to feel like a world that had rules and had logic to it, and things took time, and once those things were established, they were going to stick with them because it benefited the story to take a bit more time to get where it was going, because you wanted the character moments, you wanted the nuance, you wanted these little weird side things that were happening that really imbue the story in a way that we've come to expect and love about Game of Thrones over these past 7 seasons. So I feel like this season is just so much that I like, but so much that I really didn't like at the same time. And I don't know where that falls for me in the ranking of the seasons. I just know I've loved kind of everything else more up until this point. So I don't know. It's hard.
I say they're deadwooding us. Anyway, now the official Rick. Oh, which
They had Ian McShane.
Did you guys catch the Game of Thrones roast at the end of this week's Rick and Morty?
This one is fantastic.
What was it?
The writing on Game of Thrones was savage.
Hell yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
My hat's off.
Rough. That's rough.
You really could even say
I love it.
2015, because there were a lot of the same issues with the writing stuff that were happening last season that I know that we all discussed on All Kings Considered last season, and you know has been discussed because they were already like half past the book. So if I was Adult Swim, I would have said to 2015. So.
Take that critique home, Adult Swim.
Now the official Rick and Morty Twitter said that the card came from Adult Swim and that they had no idea about it, because I'm sure some people are getting mad.
Yeah, I think a lot of people sort of leapt to conclusions like, wow, Rick and Morty's so rude of you. It was Adult Swim. They are infamously snarky. Like, just you can still admit that something is not great and still love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yes.
And with that, welcome back to our show. Thanks for staying with us this season.
The biggest burn of all.
Well, thanks for staying with us this season for more nerdy discussions, arguments, and breakdowns. Don't forget that we are here every day on Nerdist News Talks back at 1 p.m. PDT. That's right, we do this every single day. Alicia, what can fans find out over at Nerdist.com for their Game of Thrones fix?
Oh my gosh, we have so much amazing content coming out about Game of Thrones this week, you guys. We've got a ton of new Histories of Thrones coming through. We've got one on the wall that is up right now that Mikey Walsh wrote. It is amazing. We have reactions to the season, where we think players are going, how the season finale ranked amongst other ones. We're taking a deep dive into Dany's prophecy in the House of the Undying and looking at what that can tell us for next season, and where, we want characters to go, and what our theories are, both what theories have come true and what theories we have for the future. So if you guys have anything you want to know about Game of Thrones, trust me, the next week we have like 20 stories coming out, and we're here for you. If there are things you want to know, definitely let us know in the chat. Just shoot us Twitter tweets, and we're here for you guys because we're as obsessed and love obsessing as you are.
Dan, what's up with the Dan Cave?
Well, Jess, this week I'm going to dive into the eternal question of why do video game movies always suck? Why are they always so bad? If you want to know the answer right now, you can go on Alpha and find out. Otherwise, new episode drops this Wednesday.
And if you guys want to see the epic live show that we do with Geek and Sundry every week, check out Mothership on Thursdays at 5:30 PDT. Amy, what's happening this week?
Well, I just do want to do a quick shout out of last week when we had Paul F. Tompkins on. That was an incredible show. He made it. He was inserting comedic everything into everything that we did. So it was fantastic. And this week, we're kind of leaning into the Game of Thrones finale. We've got Eugene Simon, who played Lancel Lannister on. He was the one who wasn't able to
He
blow
discovered
out
the dragon fire.
candle, yeah.
Whoops.
And then we've also got a couple of the girls from Glow.
Love that show.
Yes. And we are leaning into the 80s wrestling with a really fun Mothership challenge. I won't say anything much else except there will be spandex. So
all I know is I know what this Mothership challenge is, and my dreams might come true. Jason, you and Bowser work on all of our sketches. So what Nerdist Presents stuff is headed our way?
A lot of cool, fun stuff, guys. We're down for a little bit. We're taking a little bit of a hiatus to work on some cool shit. We're coming back mid to late September with some recuts, some tasty sketches, and actually some brand new all-original
tasty sketches?
Tasty sketches.
You meant toisty?
Toisty scorches, and some all-original Nerdist shorts. So that's something we've never done, and we'll see that coming to you this October.
Yep.
Nice.
And then for me, we've got Mothership, with Amy, which is what Amy just talked about. Nerdist News, obviously Nerdist News talks back. So join us next week when I'm eating that pizza from that pizza party. There's no, we'll see. There's pizza.
You already
Pizza.
said yes.
No.
And then Wednesdays, I've got Bizarre States with Bowser. I have no idea what we're going to talk about, but I'm
She's
sure
going to
it's gonna
bring
be
more haunted artifacts into this office and doom us all.
It's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I
They're
wonder what I can
legit
bring
haunted.
then. Yeah, nothing.
There was a
well,
haunted mirror. It was terrible.
Yeah, remember our intern Gerald? He stared into it and now he's dead.
Dead.
Did you have
He
something
lives
happen?
in the mirror.
Yes. Johnny
Johnny had something
Johnny
happen
had
to
something
him.
happen, but it was in my office for a little bit, and I was like, get that the fuck out of there.
There's a Mothership story of this stuff that lives not on the roof, but there's a little compartment, and Luke Mills has a weird video story trying to capture some stuff up there.
Really?
Yeah, this office is 100%
Well,
haunted.
It's
there
rats.
you go, guys. And it is all my fault. That is it for today's Talks Back. Be sure to watch today's Nerdist News because we're breaking down what you missed in Game of Thrones Season 7 finale. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. We will check you guys out tomorrow for an all-new Talks Back at 1 p.m. PST, PDT, whatever, live on YouTube and Alpha. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye. Almond must die.